Hey y'all, it's me, Candace, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Candace Effect. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is going to be a space where we have some conversations that people don't necessarily talk about all the time. I want you to feel seen and I want you to feel heard. And possibly after we talk for a little bit, you might feel a little bit shame. But if this isn't your first time coming, welcome back to the Candace Effect. You already know what we do here. I have to tell you, before we even get started, let's talk about some technical difficulties this time when I'm recording. My microphone broke and I have to substitute with my microphone. So hopefully the sound quality is good. But that can tie back into my last episode when we talked about losing our shit. Let me know if that hit home for you because constantly, sometimes I feel like I'm losing it. But today I will not let my obstacles get in my way of my recording. Before we dive deep into this conversation for today, I actually want to say thank you. When I've been going over my numbers and my logistics and looking back at my podcast, I'm so excited. You guys are really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying doing it, which makes me want to come back even more. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's listening to me overseas. We got people from France and people from Japan. Konnichiwa, bonjour, ça va. That's about like all I got for y'all, for real. Anyway, now it's time for us to just dive into what we got going on today. I have two things that I want to talk about. And I was going to go in a direction where I knew that I wanted to touch in and tap in on personal accountability. That's something that I've been talking about a lot this week and that has been shown up in my path accountability. But then also within that accountability, the other word that I wanted to talk about was patience. Patience and accountability. I feel like those two things can go hand in hand. What do you think? I've had to have some situations where I've dealt with people that sometimes push you to the limit where you want to lose your patience, right? For instance, let's talk about people that are different age groups, right? You have people like myself right now. I'm in an age group where I feel like I can call myself middle age almost, right? So I'm at a point where I have younger children, and then I also myself is someone child, and I have parents. I had grandparents, but they're no longer here. So was able to look at different things in different aspects. The older that I've been getting, right, I look at things differently. And I had a conversation with one of my daughters who's in her 20s. She works in retail, and sometimes she gets frustrated when she works with people that are older. I used to be the same way. Like driving down the street, you get behind somebody and they're driving so slow because you have somewhere to go and you're rushing. And I know that back in the day, I think Wednesdays or Tuesdays was senior day. I can't remember what senior day is. But whatever day the seniors get out and they get to have their discounts and they're out early in the morning, and I would get frustrated. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. Like I used to get frustrated if somebody was in front of me and I would have my kids in the line and they're taking their sweet time pulling their money out, or they can't find their keys in their pocket, or they can't find their wallet. I just be like, oh my God, why is this person taking so long? Why is X, Y, and Z? And I'd be like, oh my God, they so slow. Why do old people be outside? Why are old people outside like this? And the older that I got, I felt like that kind of energy was just stupid. And I'm talking about myself. The older my parents got, I began to see my parents age. Like, of course, when I was younger, I looked at my parents and I thought that they had it all. Like, my dad was fast, he could run, he could play. My mom also was up and active and doing things. I remember how my grandparents used to be at cookouts, and my grandma used to be coming to all of our functions at school, and she was mobile and she could drive us everywhere and she could do all these things, right? But the older she got and the older they got, they started to slow down. And being beside them and watching them slow down, and I'm getting older myself, the older I got, the older they got. And to the point where eventually they transitioned out of this earth. It made me realize that I too am getting older, right? My children that are now grown, they used to be the age that my children are now because I have little kids, I have grown children also. It made me step back and reflect. Every day that we get up and the older that we get, it's a chance for us to grow. So now when I look at people and they're older or they've been through things, I kind of stop and pause. Like I have to look at it and be like, not that I always think about my grandmom or my mom and my dad or my granddaddy and having to drive them to doctor's appointments because they just don't want to drive or just because it takes a stress off of them. The older we get, the older we get, the more changes we go through, right? The older we get, our bodies change, our mind gets a little bit more matured and aged, our eyes change, like we can't move our bodies like we used to. And so people that are growing up, now that they've reached a certain age, they're moving so fast, right? Walking down the stairs one day with my son, there was this older lady that was walking with a middle-aged man, but she was an older woman, and my son just sped past her. He sped past her as he was running down the stairs, and she looked at him and she smiled as she was kind of taking her steps as she was going down the stairs. And I watched her look at him as he sped past her, and I apologized. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, ma'am. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, "Man, I wish I could move like that." And I had to do some self reflection because in that moment, I thought about it and I was like, man, I pray that I get to an age where I can reflect on being older. I personally like the fact that I'm aging. Some people my age are dreading the fact that they're getting older. But right now, I'm happy about being able to grow another day older, another year older. Because in that growth, you learn so much. You will hope that you learn so much, right? That's where I'm going to bring in the accountability. I was having a conversation with my sister. We talk all the time, and I love talking to my sister because when we talk, it's like we have twin brains. We're not twins, but we have twin brains sometimes. Like she understands me and I understand her, and we come up with sayings, or I'll say something and she'll dive right in with me if she understands where I'm coming from. Whereas we go and try to talk to somebody else, they just don't get it. They don't have the sister twin brain like me and my sister do. So we were talking about interacting with people and what's normal to some people and then what's not normal to others, right? So if you grow up in a situation and something is normal to you, you don't think anything differently. Like I'll give an example. Growing up in our household, one of the things we used to do was as a family, when we would come home from school, we would have dinner together as a family, right? Mommy, daddy, my sister, and myself. We would sit down, and the four of us, we would have a meal together where we would talk about our day. And sometimes there was harsh conversations about people getting in trouble in school or praying to God that the telephone didn't ring. But this was time that was obligated to just family time every single day. My parents were home and we would have dinner together. And that was normal to me. So when we would have friends over and the friends would come and they would sit down and we would set the table and they would be looking like, wait, this is how y'all eat dinner? And I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. We sit down together and we have dinner. And then it was normal to them when they would come to our house. Whereas you would go to somebody else's house and they don't sit down at the dinner table. They sit maybe might be in the living room, or some people have dinner in their bedrooms, or sometimes parents are working and they can't be at home to have food with their families. Is it wrong? No. It's just different. And so the way that they function in their household was normal to them. And so, say you take that person that sits down and has dinner with their family every night, and a person that doesn't have with their family every night, and then you put them together. Sometimes they bump heads because what's normal for this person over here seems like this person is abnormal, and what's normal for this person over here seems like this person is abnormal. When in actuality, both worlds are normal. Both things function. Both households have love. Both households are being fed and nurtured, but they're just doing it differently. I say that, and we brought up like behaviors. That was a conversation that we were having, like how people behave, right? How you behave and how you communicate and all the things that we bring into our relationships, be it friendships, be it romantic relationships, even parenting, right? Work relationships and how we interact with the people that we work with. All of those things stem from the way that we were raised and the things that are normal to us. So what's normal to me and my sister and how we behave with each other and our family and our groups and all that other stuff might not be normal to other people. We came up with the phrase of clown business. If you're a clown, you don't know that you're at a circus until you look around, right? You don't know that you're amongst clowns and at the circus until you step away from the circus. Does that make sense? Like your whole life, you can be around clowns and never know that you too, in fact, are a clown. That's the reality. And you two yourself have been functioning in a circus of chaos until you step out and you go somewhere like a courtroom. You're no longer in the circus. You're out in the real world doing clown business, doing somersaults, juggling, and things of that nature. And people are looking at you like, wait, is that a clown? Ah, oh my gosh, that's so funny to me because I actually hate clowns. But sometimes we don't know that we're in a circus. And once you realize that you're in the circus, and I'm speaking for myself because I'm gonna tell you, I've been in a few circuses myself. Once I realized that I was functioning in clown business, it's time for me to take accountability, right? Accountability to change. And sometimes when we're functioning in things that we think are normal, we learn the harsh reality that they are not. And that's part of growth, right? When we step back and do some reflection and like look at things, this is where it comes in, where we ask ourselves, are we really the problem? I ask myself all the time, was I the problem? And honestly, if you're honest with yourself, you can honestly say sometimes, yes. Yes, I am the problem. So once you identify that you are the problem, because hi, I've been the problem a few times. Not that I need a hand clap or I need any peanut gallery to be like, yes, girl, you have been the problem. This is about me being self reflective and talking about personal growth. As we are growing, you should have patience with yourself. Just like we have patience with the people that are the older people that have been here longer than us. Have that same patience with yourself. The habits and the things that we've gotten into growing up, they didn't happen overnight. Sometimes growth and self reflection is really, really hard. Sometimes it's easier to stay the same. But for us to reach a certain level of growth and maturity, you got to do some self reflection. And you have to be patient with yourself. I'm patient with myself on a lot of things. And it brings you to a point sometimes where it's not going to be pretty. Self love is a big thing. You can also do reflection on yourself without hating yourself. You shouldn't hate yourself for things that you've been through or things that you're used to. Love yourself for the growth. That's what I believe. A clown can always take off their makeup. That's how I feel. I feel like a clown can always take up their makeup. When you leave the circus, it's okay for you to take off your makeup. That's kind of what I want to take away from today. What I want to take away from today is it's okay for you to function in clown business. And all of us have been in a circus or two in our lives, right? But until you step out of the circus, you never realize that you are also a clown and performing in clown business. Once you realize that you have been doing things and it's just been crazy life, it's time to do some self reflection and take accountability for the things that you do. And when I say you, I mean me. Every day I grow. It's a beautiful thing. The person that I was 2 years ago, I'm no longer that person anymore. Thank God for that, right? Thank God I grew out of a lot of things that were normal to me. Normal. Thank God I grew. I love where I am right now in my life. Unfortunately, 2 years from now, I probably won't be the same person anymore either. Life experiences and more self reflection will help you grow. Be patient with yourself as you're in your growth phase. That's what I would encourage everybody to do. It's okay for you to be one person that's not a great person when you're in that stage of your life. But once you decide that you want to step out of that and you've grown out of it, don't beat yourself up. We all grow. So, what I want you to take away today is I want you to just be kind to yourself. Hone in on loving yourself. Learn to just bask in who you are now and laugh at the things that you used to be like go through. It's cool. Like I was this person a long time ago. Now I'm not. Now I'm this beautiful man. Now I'm this wonderful woman. We grow. And sometimes some people don't see your growth. Don't let that stop you. Continue being yourself. Continue growing. Continue being authentic to who you are. So that's what I want to take away for today. Love yourself through your growth. Hold yourself accountable for the things that you knew and the things that you don't know. But also be gentle with yourself. Be patient with your growth. Sometimes it takes a long time for beautiful things to grow. So I want to say thank you for joining me for the Candace Effect. I hope you think about what I just said to you. I hope it might resonate. If not, I appreciate your time and you just coming to talk to me. And if you're listening to me in other countries or in your car or wherever you are, thank you again. Be kind to yourself. Love on yourself. Bask in the good and just enjoy the fact that you are not the person that you used to be. Love on yourself. And until we meet again, peace.